My guest today is Dylan Walker, the vocalist and one of the founding members of Full of Hell. Hello, Dylan. How are you doing?
Thanks, man. Doing really good, getting ready for a tour and just kind of enjoying my time before I leave.
hmm Um, let's talk money. Randy Blythe recently said that he struggles financially between the tours and he has to do some regular jobs, which defies the common misconception that touring musicians are well off. Would it be economic issue for you if Full of Hell had to give up touring like you did in pandemics?
No, it wouldn't be a problem for me at all.
hmm
But I had to figure that out years and years ago. I noticed that a lot of our heroes still kind of held other jobs, and it's not really disenchanting to me or disappointing at all to have that veil pulled back. I just feel like confrontational or extreme art or underground anything isn't really meant to be, consumed by like a large part of the population. So I don't necessarily think it's like a super clever business plan to throw all of your eggs into a basket expecting it to feed you. And that sounds a little harsh. I do like seeing people make a living off of their art.
hmm
I just think that in terms of like making underground music and like punk or metal, I've always been a little cautious about it being kind of like compromised or maybe the experience ruined entirely by demanding a paycheck from it or needing needing to rely on it in such a way that when it doesn't meet that expectation, you're like, this isn't worth doing because I just feel like it cheapens it to a pretty extreme degree. I don't know. And I have a kid and a mortgage. Like I wanted a functional life, so I knew that finding independent work that was compatible, which isn't easy. It's not easy at all to find compatible work with a touring schedule, but that was really important to me. So I had to figure it out a long time ago because I
hmm
want to keep doing precisely because I want to keep doing this. I don't want to be pulled away because it's not making me enough money or because, it's just got to be about the art. So it doesn't surprise me. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal either.
hmm And being a father changes this perspective. I mean, last time we spoke, which was 5 years ago, you didn't have a kid yet.
No, yeah, yeah. I was actually really depressed too. COVID was weird because I think I might have been a little burned out and I felt like, oh, this is so sick. I get this break where nothing is expected of me at all. And
hmm
instead I just kind of spun my wheels and freaked out about existence because I had nothing going on otherwise. And I had all my friends through music and all of my creative everything and frankly like a lot of my physical activity too through the band and that was all cut off. The kid was pretty illuminating in like a really good way in a lot of the stereotypical ways. Because it's like it's a pretty like realistically magic thing to witness, like a life coming
hmm
into being. So yeah, it's awesome. It brought me up a lot, like in terms of my depression. Helped me focus.
hmm Do you experience something like, I don't know how to call it, detachment anxiety, that you will be in during the tour on the other side of the world and something here can happen?
Oh yeah. I mean, even if nothing happens,
Uh-huh.
it's actually that's been like my primary struggle with touring my whole life because I've just always struggled with separation anxiety
hmm
and like a kind of irrational fear of leaving my little safe bubble at home. I had it, I never really looked it in the face, but I've experienced it since I was a little tiny kid. I remember having panic attacks, about this specific thing, and it wasn't until we were expecting a child and I started having like panic attacks about like how I was going to balance it and how I was going to tell my band or any of that stuff that I realized it was maybe like a struggle that was kind of like impeding all my happiness in like kind of a big way. So I had to get medicated. And even then I felt like the medication was helping, but when we had the child, I just remember specifically being on tour in Australia with our friends Thou. All the shows were sold out. It was just more than you could ever ask for. It was like
hmm
such a cushy, fun tour with a band you love and tons of people you love. And I was just like on the verge of tears most of the trip, honestly, because I was just like devastated. I was just like, why am I on the other side of the planet? I should be home with my kid. This is fucking stupid. And
Mhm.
that's the wrong, it was the wrong attitude to have. And they're, meanwhile, my family's here and they're very happy, and they know what the deal is, and they're like totally cool with it. And they would tell me if they weren't. So it was really a me thing. And I had to like, work on adjusting medications and stuff. But yeah, I deal with that a lot. And it's only in the last like couple years really that I've felt like I've compartmentalized it a little bit in like a healthy way. But yeah, anxiety is like a huge driver in my life. It sucks. As a lot of most people know.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not fun.
Mhm. How much has changed after the pandemics for a band like you? I mean, it seems like there's a business as usual, and some TikTok-driven resurgences appeared. What about Full of Hell?
Um, you know, I feel like Full of Hell is so intrinsically tied to its members' lives that it's changing like year over year with everybody's changing lifestyles because it's a lifestyle project. It's gone through huge changes. Post COVID was really interesting from like a business perspective, from like a music like industry yuck perspective. Uh, there was like a huge renaissance. I felt like everybody was so excited they could go back out to gigs. So everything was like pretty popping. Ticket sales were really, really crazy. And then I noticed a couple years in, it seemed like maybe there was like oversaturation, and then there were a lot of economic woes. Like there's like a million factors that play into that, right? And that lays on the band too. Bands will want to blame a million different reasons for why their shows aren't selling or their records aren't selling or whatever. And there could be valid reasons, but at the end of the day, it's also like, if people want to consume your shit, they will,
Hmm.
regardless. But yeah, I mean, there's a million factors, and the journey for Full of Hell's changed a lot in the last 6 years. I got older, and like I just felt like significantly like more kind of disenchanted with like the grind of I want to just go 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 go. I need to like whatever opportunities we can get, let's go get it. And you just kind of like your perspective like becomes tempered. And I came kind of full circle back to like why was I doing this to begin with, and like trying to show extra special respect to the body of work that is
Hmm.
the band or whatever. And I don't know. I hope it's been like the journey it's kind of positive, where we've just kind of gotten calmer, and our wants aren't necessarily like at the top of the priorities list, for the band. It's more like what's good for this band, like what is the coolest thing we could do.
Hmm.
And like just focusing on that. So yeah, I mean a lot's changed. It's kind of a difficult answer, I guess.
Hmm. Since you already mentioned the catching the opportunities, as you said, aren't you a bit afraid that there's gonna be too much of Full of Hell around? Yet
Oh,
another album, yet another collaboration, year by year. Uh, Oversaturation, maybe?
yeah, dude. So we had been prolific because the ideas were there for us and the opportunities were there, and
Yeah,
a lot of our heroes, not all of them, but like particularly like a lot of the like punk and power violence stuff out of California, was
yeah.
super super prolific, just like tons and tons of releases. And I think there's like varying degrees of like belief in that kind of mode of thinking as far as releases go. I think we're kind of over that right now with Full of Hell.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's as high of a priority now. I think the idea is to slow it down and maybe just release less stuff, because I personally don't, at the end of the day, like I don't want to impede on like whatever the band's natural instinct is to do. So, our previous guitar player, founding member Spencer, is like incredibly prolific.
Hmm.
He's hardwired to release music all the time. Like that's who he is. But like, that's just it's not necessarily, there's just, what I'm trying to say, it's really subjective. And I don't necessarily, when that was the mission, I didn't necessarily care what people, if people thought it was too much. Now I really yeah, I want a balance for sure. But
Hmm.
it's kind of irrelevant at the end of the day, because like, do you want to release a record? Then fuck it, who cares if it's too much, because like you're gonna fail eventually anyway, in some way. So why would you not just do exactly what you want to do? You know,
W-
I think
w-
there's intelligent ways to go at it for sure.
What do
But
you
I
mean
just,
by fail anyway?
well, failure is subjective too. So like, it won't be a failure to me when the band fizzles finally or does whatever it needs to do, where it just stops doing things.
Hmm.
But like, failure is 100% inevitable. You know, it's like riding a dirt bike or a motorcycle. My grandpa always says, he says, there are those who have fallen and there are those who are about to fall. And it kind of got me out of motocross because
Hmm.
I started late with that and I didn't necessarily want to break bones, but like the idea that you're not going to put out a bad record or someone's not going to laugh in your face or you're not going to have a terrible show or you're not going to ever be broke is like a joke. You're going to do all of those things repeatedly and eventually you will stop. So if it's all meaningless and it's all going to suck eventually, then like just wake up and do exactly what you're going to do. It's what keeps me going. That's my driver when I'm concerned that we might do a tour that I'm not excited to do, which will hopefully not be the case again. But like if I think the shows aren't selling or something, I get up and I'm just like, what am I not going to play the shows? Am I not going to go do the thing? Of course I'm going to do it. So stop fucking complaining and stop worrying about it and just go do the thing. But
Hmm.
you will fail. It's part of it. It's part of the experience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This year marks the 15th anniversary of Rudiments of Mutilation. Do you revisit this album?
Yeah, definitely. We still play songs from it actually
Uh-huh.
because some of those songs, it's funny, a lot of bands I don't think like to look backwards like that, but we did a couple like retrospective shows and like fest things where we had to go back and do album playthroughs and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And we all had the same feeling like, oh, like this or that, like that's pretty sick. And it's nice to look back and kind of feel like a competitive edge when you read your old writing and be like, damn, I don't have any juice now. Like that was actually pretty, it's just better than you remember it sometimes. And
Hmm.
some of it's embarrassing, maybe. Like it kind of doesn't matter, but like some of it, yeah, you're not happy with your choices, but some of it, it's really nice to look back and be like, "Whoa, it's pretty amazing that, 15 years less experience and we made something that is like, I can still see merit in." And now some of those songs when we play them like, twice as fast and like we jam way harder. There's a specific track on that record that had a jammy section where you can kind of just do whatever you want. So now we just have our chops have increased over the years. So now we just have a lot more fun with that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, we still play stuff from those old records, and I think it's important to look back to. You
Mm,
don't want to get like this air of arrogance, like what I'm doing right now is the best thing I've ever done, because it's simply not always. It's just not the case necessarily.
on the other hand, it's a bit early to play your old stuff back to back. I mean, you've been around
Maybe.
for 15 years now.
Says who? Like sure. I
Hmm.
would say maybe, but like also people always ask bands to play X or Y. Like why not? Also, when the songs are relatively short, they're not like super super short like grindcore songs or anything, but
Hmm.
when we play a set that's like a proper 45-minute set, which feels like an eternity, it's like 25 songs. So yeah, you can play, it's fun to span the discography and kind of like mash it all up together and try and figure out ways where the songs fit together.
Hmm.
Um, so too late, I don't know. Who
Okay.
cares? Or too early, I mean, it doesn't matter.
You said that back in those days, you hated doing albums and singing in studio seemed a bit odd for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, specifically tracking vocals. It's
Hmm.
it's it's just really uncomfortable. I like it nowadays because I understand what like the uncomfortable moments that then feelings that you can just ignore and like think
Hmm.
through. But it's just the vocal style that I do. Like just the screaming sounds so bad dry in a room
Hmm.
that I remember the first time I ever recorded in like, my friend who played drums in my very first band's basement. I had no idea what I was about to do, and I just started singing, recording, and like as soon as I opened my mouth, everybody started laughing because it was just like, this doesn't sound like it does when it's compressed coming through the PA system.
Hmm.
And just that was specifically like that's just about it. And I mean, um Yeah, like that's what makes it horrible. Nope, it's screaming in the studio. I mean, now as I'm older, like, you can get a good studio mix and you're in the room by yourself and it's you get it. But like early on, yeah. I mean, the first time we did an LP, I just executed the whole thing wrong. I just, I can't really think back on it, but like I thought well, to get the sound live, I need to scream as hard as possible. But that was a mistake in judgment because I don't scream as hard as possible live. That's just not the technique at all. So it came out sounding just not necessarily like my voice was sounding live at all. And it didn't sound great. And the mix was a little dry too. And I didn't know how to like ask for compression or like more gain or something. So that record has stood as it's Roots of Earth. It's like the first LP we did. I've just like been mortified by the vocal production my entire life. Like since it came out. Like truly, I remember asking
Hmm.
tons of people like, is this good? Is this bad? Is this good? Is this bad? Just not being happy with it and being too naive to just be like, hey, maybe take like 3 hours in Baltimore to re-record them if you hate them that much. Like that wasn't even a thought in my
Hmm.
mind that was
Yeah.
possible or what to ask for. So yeah, recording is difficult. I think, anyways. I enjoy
Hmm.
it nowadays though.
I believe one of the main objectives back then was to look for extremity. How important is this aspect for you as an artist, as a member of the band these days?
Um, I think it's I think it's probably maybe more important than it was then, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't even phrase it like that, and I don't think I knew how to execute. Any of us were like particularly like knew how to execute something that felt properly extreme then. I don't think it matters. I think like what came out is cool, like in its way. Like it sounds like us. It sounds like what we tried to do or whatever. But I think extremity is taking a front seat. Even just recently, we're writing now. We have a lot of stuff written, and the goal now is like what is this band and like what services the band and my goal is like what do these guys do really well and I want to accentuate that and for someone like our drummer I want him pushed really hard and yeah I don't know it's gone up and down over the years like a focus on just extremity because there's a lot more to it there's like a record or two probably the last time we spoke we were on a record where I really tried as hard as I could to just like do as much as I could with the vocals, not really understanding that it didn't necessarily service the song and that there were probably moments where I should have just shut the fuck up, maybe, and just let the part breathe. And
Hmm.
it's fine. It's like literally fine, especially with extreme metal. I think you have to go pretty hard to make a shitty ass vocal take on an extreme metal record, honestly. Because
Hmm.
I have a friend who always said the lyrics are like placeholders, which is it's fun. It's funny. So like, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like doing too much too. I don't know. There's like a tasteful way where it'll hit harder if it's not just 10 the whole time. But
So there are Full of Hell albums where there's too much of you?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, a few. I just got really excited and I wanted it to be the most extreme thing that I could do, thinking that just meant go, 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 go all the time.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's like it blows out your palate. It's like walking through it's like walking through a museum all day. I
Hmm.
like after an hour or so, I don't give a shit anymore. I can't take in anymore. Like so you really like some nuance goes really far, I think. You know?
Hmm.
I don't know. But it's all a learning experience, so it doesn't really matter.
Did you have your teenage moment of musical radicalism when you were 17 and listened to the most abrasive punk and metal only and nothing else?
I don't think I ever
I did.
I don't think I, I had those feelings, like, and I would say dumb shit, like, about what was cool and what was whack, not
Hmm.
realizing, like, I'm a fucking dork, you know? I think I'm super cool, but I'm not elite at all. So, like, yeah, I had arrogant moments, surely, but, I always liked the balance between, like, really, really soft, easygoing shit and then, like, really hard shit. So, even in the early days, I wanted a grindcore band that blended like ambient and drone. Like I just thought it'd be so cool if it was just like fast, fast, fast soundscape, fast, fast, fast soundscape. I remember trying to explain it to my high school bandmates, and not really getting. You don't get what you want, in a group situation. Exactly, you got to
Hmm.
compromise. But yeah, I've always liked. I don't know, lots of flavors. So I mean, my closest probably my closest perspective to what you're saying was probably me just thinking I was like any more elite than any random dickhead on the street. And thankfully that got like shamed out of me, you know, because that's embarrassing.
But how did your musical uh, taste change over the last 15 years in the band?
I think I was super, super excited about all the good stuff in metal, like lots of grindcore and lots of punk and black metal and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Super excited about it, wanted to absorb all of it, then got really ingrained into the culture and started meeting the bands that I was listening to and started, you know, hanging with our peers that also make that kind of music and meeting bands that I think are really good that thought we were absolutely fucking awful and would just talk shit on us. So it would like hurt my feelings because I had thin skin or whatever. And then it's like
Hmm.
it's hard to listen to this record knowing that like this whole community thinks you're just the wackest person in the universe. Even though like, you know, a rational adult, like who cares, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, so I think there was like a degree of that that made me like and I was like always stressed about touring. Like I didn't there were periods where I like didn't want to leave my home and listening to metal at any point while I was home made me think about having to leave my house. And I think a lot of musicians through different they're probably different reasoning, but it's all the same thing in the end. They get so close to it and they're making it so often that they don't necessarily want to listen to it because they're getting something out of it that has nothing to do with the music. So yeah, and I remember meeting the Body in like 2014 or something, and then getting into a lot of really cool shit, like a lot more like IDM, like techno and drum and bass stuff, and like pop music, and then there was just so much to take in. And meeting our friend, this dude Balaj Pandi from Hungary, who played
Yeah.
drums with Merzbow, he's the one who set that up for us. He's
Hmm.
one of our best friends, and he is like the hugest jazz head I know. So like anytime we were around him for more than 20 minutes, it's just like, oh, there's also the entire universe of jazz, which is like beyond dizzying because there's so much shit. So I almost was like, I know so little about so many things that like I'm not just gonna listen to, you know, I'm not gonna listen to fucking Morbid Angel and Hatred Surge and Insect Warfare again. And I would just like listen to, you know, whatever. And even nowadays, you know, I have like a real big soft spot again for like extreme metal records. But I still probably listen to more like pop and rap than it's like and it's like I think it's like an interesting pop music. It's not like radio top 40 pop or something, but like there's just so much out there that I don't know. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
don't
Yeah,
really have a
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't really feel a lot of focus in that regard.
I'm having a hard time listening to contemporary pop due to its production. It's too
Yeah, I
loud.
mean, yeah, I could see that, which is funny because a lot of bands, especially young bands and my idiot ass,
Hmm.
still specifically want the mastering guy to make it sound like the speakers are blowing out.
Hmm.
Which I remember talking to this dude James Plotkin, total legend, and he mastered our second record.
Absolutely.
We were so excited to have him master it, and I remember getting it back, and it was like a dynamic master, but it wasn't necessarily like the speakers blown out, you know, because
Yeah.
that's not what he wanted to do. And I remember asking him to like pump it, and he explained to me like what made a good master. And I just remember thinking like, but that's not what I like. And then
Hmm.
and now we do know producers and stuff now that are like they understand dynamics and all that stuff. But like they're like they got the dumb jock approach that I want sometimes, which is like fuck dynamics. But yeah, I don't know. There's just so much interesting shit going on. I couldn't even name five pop songs on the radio right now. Like, not even like to say I wouldn't even like it. Maybe I would, but like, there's a million trillion fucking artists right now, like
Hmm.
uploading their music to DSPs or like SoundCloud and just like trying new things. There's no reason to stick to stuff that's even like mildly uninteresting to you.
Hmm. I've read that people in their mid 30s start discovering their parents' music. What about you?
Uh, my parents' music, I discovered when I was little because it was like a lot of they were into the Dead, which I never got into Grateful Dead. I
Hmm.
know some songs because it was just always playing, and I went to some shows when I was very little. But like that, I never clicked with. I don't know if I ever will. It's fine. I like some music, but they were really into punk rock too, and like all like Dead Kennedys and Bad Brains and Ramones and all that
Yeah.
stuff. They gave
Okay.
me all those CDs. And they were also there was this weird pipeline with their Deadhead friends where like I noticed that Deadheads of a certain age would transition into bluegrass, like traditional, like really good bluegrass. And I've
Hmm.
always liked bluegrass, and I don't know. And my dad really loved Delta blues and like, certain specific I was always into that stuff. So I haven't had that moment personally. I also notice another stereotype that I see more often is seeing friends or old peers or whatever that in their 30s they stop looking at new music and they listen to the same five records that we loved in high school forever.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, which is fine. Whatever.
That's basically another thing I wanted to ask you. Many years ago, I've read an interview with some metal musician, and he said he can't imagine playing death metal and at the same time not being a fan of death metal, not following new bands, not discovering them. Just being completely detached from the current state of the music you play. How do you see your own relationship with between what you create and what you listen to?
There's tons of guys that have no fucking idea what's going on in death metal. Even I just saw a Glenn
Glenn
Benton
Benton
interview.
being
Dude,
the
was that
best.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Literally, I just saw like a Dead by Dog interview like 3 days ago where Glenn's like, I don't want to listen to any death metal because I don't want it to get into my head or whatever. I uh I don't know where I sit on that. I'm not particularly interesting in terms of like having an extreme view on creativity because I'm somewhere in the middle. I mean, there are huge periods where I just like don't listen to any metal, but it doesn't really have I understand the mindset. I'll
Hmm.
just say I completely understand and empathize with the mindset of I don't care. I don't need to listen to extreme metal like in my free time. And we definitely don't really listen to a whole lot in the van. Nowadays with Gabe, our guitar player, he's like he is that guy where he's just like he's an encyclopedia, you know?
Hmm.
And he's always putting me onto sick shit.
Hmm.
That's metal. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in the middle. I don't really have a strong take. I do enjoy it but I particularly enjoy much more than listening to it, making it and playing it live. Like way more. And that's just because of the personal experience. It's just I want to make it.
But let's stick to the boomer mode, and um, you certainly have something you're lacking in the contemporary music, which used to be there back then when you were like 15. Glenn Benton said he lacks actual frontman in rock or metal music.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't think the front man in rock was very cool. I don't
Ah,
like that.
okay.
I don't like that role. I like the braggadocious douchebag. I think
Hmm.
there's like a part of me, with all respect to all of my friends that do this for a living, that finds the rock musician, the metal musician guy doing like the fucking album cycle thing. They're like birthday clowns to me
Okay.
in a way. Like I relate so much more when I show up and the band looks like regular ass slobs or whatever, and there's no ego there, and it's just a bunch of normal looking guys that get on stage and they do something that freaks you the fuck out because it's like so wild or whatever.
Hmm.
I do like theatrics though, at the same time. It's just I don't know. Uh it doesn't really matter. Who fucking cares? Like if there's not a what Glenn Benton thinks a frontman. He shouldn't even be alive. He promised us that he was going to kill himself when he was 33 or whatever.
There are still people who are disappointed by the
That's
fact that
crazy.
he
Yeah.
didn't.
It'd be funny if he wasn't so diehard because he would be mortified that he had fans that were diehard enough that actually are mad at him for not killing himself.
Oh, I'm sure he's aware of that.
Oh, of course
And
he is.
uh, honestly, I'm not sure if he ever actually liked death metal as such,
He might not. He's just good
which
at
is
making it.
fine because
It is fine. It's I don't know. It's I hate to be the guy with no answers now, but
yeah.
I've become the man with no answers. I've
Okay.
tried to cast aside judgment entirely, and
Hmm.
I don't know like I don't know anymore. I feel like the older I get, the less I know about the world around me, like truly. And I just kind of
That's really humble of you.
but it's completely unintentional. If I could be
Hmm.
super confident, I would just thrust it on myself. and be like, I know everything, because it would make things easier to walk into it confidently. But I
Mhm.
am confident in my knowledge of subjectivity, I guess. I feel like who are you to say? I would just laugh in someone's face if they're like, rock music's fucking over, it's dead. It's not for you anymore though. And
Mhm.
it's this there's music now that I truly don't get. Like a lot of contemporary hip hop, like the drill stuff is
Mhm.
like there's like levels to it where I don't even understand it. And I didn't get the whole like SoundCloud rap thing either. I'm like a huge fan of this dude Young Lean now, but I
Mhm.
remember back in the day when he was a kid and just starting out, and I saw like there's this Swedish teenager who's into like trap music wearing a Life Lover shirt. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, that's sick. And then I listened to it and I was just like, it sounded out of tune. It didn't have a good flow. I didn't get it. But now, like, I recognize like this kid's a genius. This is like its own, he's my age. He's not really a kid, but it's its own thing that I just didn't get at the time. I didn't get what I wanted out of it either. And that's a whole nother thing with the fandom. It's like, you're not going to get what you want. Like, if the band, you're just not going to, it's just that kind of world, you know? It's,
Mhm.
the band's going to do what they want to do and it's going to bum people out.
Whatever that was, it's certainly far better than Life Lover itself. Uh,
Sure. Yeah. Fair. Fair. But it was sick though, seeing a
Mhm.
teenager wearing a Life Lover shirt that was like making rap. I was like, what the fuck? There's a guy in America, Little Ugly Mane, who
Yeah.
is like my reference point was him because I was like, this guy's an actual noise head who actually has chops and is like involved in punk and metal and is a
Mhm.
really fucking good rapper. So I had expected that. It's not the
Mhm.
first time I was like thrown off by the wrapping paper on around a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Since you've been around for almost two decades now, do you see yourself as a band entering the classic mode and other bands looking up to you?
Um, I don't know about the first part of that. I think that's like something that I don't really have the right to deem whether or not. I think if a band sticks around long enough and stays consistent enough with their fan base and is thrown, a decent amount of lucky opportunities, yeah, I think they can enter into what you might consider to be like a contemporary classic or whatever. The second part of what you said, are there bands that are influenced by us? That is like an objective fact. Like
Hmm.
I know plenty of kids, and it's super wild because some of the bands are really good. There's a band called Knoll, and they're doing like to me it sounds like a very specific era Full of Hell, but like blended with Portal, but it's like young American kids. And
Hmm.
it's pretty insane. Like it's
It's
totally
a great
insane. But
band.
this kid, the singer Jamie, who I'm friends with now, like told me really early on. I remember him from Full of Hell shows, but he told me like I just watched interviews with you guys and Thou and et cetera, to like know how to do DIY shit. And I got a job as a lifeguard and I bought our van and self-pressed our records and did all this. And to me, I'm like, he's stating that we influenced, but he took it so much farther in such a sicker way. It is so, that is so like, good for my self-esteem to have seen a kid that was just like, there's like a spark that he got from us in whatever way, and he did something incredible, like DIY incarnate. It's so sick. So yeah, there are bands like that, which that's natural too. I mean, like we're close friends with some of our influences that are like not that much older than us, and I know it's probably a funny feeling for them too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When we last spoke, you told me about the new Full of Hell album, which turned out to be the Full of Hell and Andrew Nolan collaboration. How many of new albums do you currently have in works?
Just one. I think it's really important after the departure of our guitar player, who's been in the band forever,
Hmm.
that we don't do anything until we have a new record. We all felt like that's really important. So we're just kind of taking our time. It's really important to us that like the band respects our lifestyles and like there's no crunch. There's just no reason to like crunch for time at all. So it's coming along quickly, but I don't want to overload us and I don't want to put out a lot of shit anymore. I want to like just sit around and focus on, this record, one thing. We do have like, obviously there's like locker room talk with our friends where it's like we got to do a collab or whatever. So there's like one or two of those that I think
Hmm.
we will pursue, but like the focus is just on making just a standalone record in whatever time it takes us. It's not going to take us very long just because like we're excited. But in terms of Full of Hell, it'll be a nice long wait.
When did you hear there is a new Neurosis record?
Dude, when it came out, and honestly,
Oh,
the
okay.
best the be dude, the guys in Old Man Gloom didn't even know. And they were just
Okay.
Nate. I texted Nate Newton the morning it came
Mhm.
out because it's the best musical surprise I've felt, full body chills, as
Absolutely.
long as I can remember. Like literally I was sitting with my wife and I was just like, oh my God. And she thought something bad happened, and I was just like, Neurosis is back and Aaron Turner's in the band and the record's out today.
Hmm.
And the record is, I'm glad you asked me because I've just been like for days just been talking at all my friends about this and just like it's such a huge deal to me because I mean obviously the band is super important to us, but like the record is so fucking good too. And I want the people that are like our true OG influences to put out incredibly sick, relevant records. And not, they don't, those legacy bands don't always necessarily put out like incredible 10 out of 10 records into their careers. It's fine. That's like, we know this, you know? But like, that record is unbelievable. And, it meant so much to me. I don't know. It's so good. And it's just really exciting because we all look up to Neurosis. There's like a common phrase amongst our friends, what would Neurosis do? Because
Hmm.
they carried themselves in such a particular way. They've been like hugely influential, like on Converge in particular. And all of us, a lot of the bands out there in the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast that were like kind of like around those guys all are like, that's their Bible, like how did Neurosis do things? And the way
Hmm.
they're coming back and you know, Steve Von Till asked us to play Fire in the Mountains this summer, and it was like an immediate yes because it was like, holy shit, Steve's calling. That's so crazy. It's just funny
Oh,
to me. But he's such a good guy, and he's like, they just have like the vision. I don't know, man. It's like they represent to me like what this shit's all about. Like 100% top to bottom. A Sonics aside, like that is my role model band for sure, hands down. So yeah, it's a big deal to me. I'm so excited about it still. Can't
mhm.
wait.
Dylan, thank you for this terrific conversation and good luck with the tour.
Dude,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Yeah.